welcome to a new video. Last video we talked about a Greek subtree to Israel, which we all know is coming, but in today's video we're gonna talk something bigger. We're gonna talk about an entire Greek tech tree, from start to finish. Now this video is a direct response to this guy's complaints, which I have a message to give him real quick. Alright, with the slurs delivered, time to actually talk about all the vehicles a Greek tech tree would have. Starting off with rank 1. Alright, for rank 1 it may look a little bit small, but truth is this is just as many vehicles as China, which leaves us with a nice short grind, really not too much effort needed, just a few very good vehicles. You've got an M8, Vickers. To be fair, from what I could find, the Vickers Greece had smaller cannons, like the small French cannons, which would be kind of unfortunate, so I don't even know if it's a good idea to have them. Right below it's the R35, a decent 1.0 tank. Then the Italian M13 Cardo Armato, that's probably the best reserve tank. Actually wouldn't be reserve, it'd be 1.7 and you'd have to unlock it, but still. For anti-air, the SA-42. Now listen, I could not find any proof Greece had them, but it wouldn't be too hard for them to capture one, right? I mean, they captured hundreds of L3s, which yeah, it's literally like right beside it, right there, L3. So yeah, this is rank 1. Small, short, but hey, better than Israel. Rank 2 is where the truth about Greece really begins to shine. Or I guess the opposite of shine. Yeah, unfortunately with Greece is that they do not have a lot of vehicles, and that is very evident. For light tanks, you've got the M3A1 and M3A3 Stuart tanks, but for mediums, the jump is kind of abrupt. You get a Cromwell 5, Sherman 2 and Sherman 5, which are all 3.7 vehicles, which means that sure, you could make a good lineup with them, but the problem is that you abruptly go from a R35 French tank to a Cromwell. Yeah, this country definitely is not for beginners. For anti-air, I guess it is a little bit better with the M16 and a BTR 152. Okay, listen, sure we didn't have the BTR anti-aircraft vehicles, but we did have BTRs in service, surprisingly enough. Yes. For tank destroyers, M10, I'm not even sure if we did have that. So yeah, take everything with a pinch of salt. And M44, also take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not sure if we had that, but I had to put in more vehicles to fill in the gaps, you know. So yeah. You'd think rank 3 is where we actually start to see more vehicles, but no, we actually see some very questionable decisions on my part. So for light tanks, you've got your M24 Chaffee and M18 Hellcat. I mean, okay, the Hellcat is typically a tank destroyer, but for the USA tree they moved it into the light tanks line, so I guess it is a light tank. Anyways, for mediums, that's where you really start to see the questionable stuff. M4A1 76mm at 5.0, T3485 at 5.7, and for some reason, Centurion Mark II 6.7. Yes, that's right, 6.7 at rank 3. Okay, this just does not make sense. And I know, I'm sorry, but really I had no other option. If I did not include that, then it'd be empty. And I wouldn't want that. And truth is, I'm not even sure if we had Centurions. From what I could find, yes, my main source was ChatGPT, if you could not tell already. He told me that, well, yes, not used in service, it would be quite fitting, supposedly. Yeah. Regardless, this probably is not a very smart idea. For anti-air, you've got your Duster, and for tank destroyers, you've got your M55, if you can even call that thing a tank destroyer. Rank 4 is when we finally see some actual Greek tanks, even though there are definitely some very questionable choices. For light tanks, we have BMP-1A1, originally a West German modification of the former East German BMP-1s, acquired by Greece. They are inferior to the regular BMP-1s as they lack the ATGM launcher. However, they do have a 5th cal. It should also be noted that they lack the 5th gear, so they are quite slower. They go 45 kilometers an hour top speed. However, this would be quite similar to that Swedish BMP-1 that lacks the missile. So yeah, 6.7. The 5th cal makes up for the lacking speed, I suppose. Below it is the AMX-13, obviously, who could forget. And below that, finally, an actual Greek vehicle, Leonidas I ET-90. This is the modification of the Leonidas APC that mounts a turret with a 90mm. I suppose it works the same as the French, how was that called again? That annoying light vehicle, AMX-90, I think. Yeah. So yeah, basically a 90mm hit slinger. Sure, it's heavier and slower, but I guess the survivability makes up for that, maybe. Whatever, 7.3. For mediums, still some questionable choices. Centurion, M47, M48A1, and AMX-30B, 1972 edition. All those tanks usually belong into rank 5, but I mean, if I put them in rank 5 would be crowded and rank 4 would be empty. So yeah, I had to put them in here. For anti-air, another Greek modification, BMP-1 with a twin 23mm turret. Yes, if you could not tell, we really have a lot of Soviet equipment in our ranks. Anyways, for tank destroyers, M36 junctions, yes, we actually had them, and M109s. Obviously, what NATO country does not have M109s? Alright, rank 5 brings another bunch of interesting options. For light tanks, Marder A3, obviously. Leonidas II APC. From what I could find, it is armed with a Bushmaster. So yeah, I guess it'd be like a Bradley. However, it lacks ATGM, so yeah, maybe 8.3 is a little bit too high for it. And also SK-105. Yeah, I am also confused as to why on earth that is there, but from what I could find, we have them, so I guess add that in there. Why not? Anyways, for mediums, AMX-30B2, we actually do have the improved B2 variants, indeed. Leopard 1A1 and Leopard 1A3 GR. Yes, that's right, the Leopard variants that we do not have in game. We have them here. Anyways, M48A2C, indeed. M60A1 Rise, indeed. Yeah, I really do not have any comments to say about those vehicles, they aren't anything interesting. For anti-air, I'm not sure if we do have M163, but I'd imagine we have them. But if not, we have another interesting option, Artemis 30. This was actually an anti-air system we developed ourselves, and from what I could find, it is actually quite insane. A twin 30mm mount that is remotely operated, and from what I could find, it had very good tracking system. Now the issue is that, as you can see, this is clearly on a trailer, so how you'd implemented that into a vehicle is the real question. However, I have this to say, if mounted on a Leonidas chassis, which is very possible, this is literally a Greek Falcon. I'm literally like two 30mm cannons, and matter of fact, it may even be better than Falcon because it's remotely operated, so hold down, you're basically invulnerable. Why would you want to be hold down with an anti-air is up to you, but still. And lastly, for tank destroyers, Panzerhaubitze 2000, of course, we can't forget that. So yeah. Alright, starting rank 6, we have the Kentavros IFV. Now, 9.0 may be too high for that IFV. The Kentavros IFV is on paper it's very good, with a 30mm autocannon that penetrates a lot, a fast chassis, very good fire control system. However, its biggest downfall is that it lacks ATGMs of any sort. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. However, I do think the advanced fire control system would make up for that. So it would be like an EFV. Very good fire control system, very good cannon, just no missiles, which is unfortunate. Below it is the Cypriot BMP-3. Yes, Cyprus has Russian equipment for some reason, I don't know why. Anyways, for medium tanks, Leopard 1 A4 GR, very good. We do not have that in the game, would be nice to see. And Leopard 1 A5, we all know the Leopard 1 A5 has its advanced thermals and laser rangefinder, would be nice to have. For the other line, M60 A3 TTS, yes, and M48 A5 MOLF, which is a Greek modification. Now, I'm really struggling to consider if the MOLF should be better than the A3 TTS, because I don't know, man. I don't know, unless it has a mobility upgrade, I really cannot find a reason for it to be 9.7, so it'd probably be lower, unless it does have better mobility or far superior fire control system, or maybe better ammunition too. I mean, I guess it is a more modern tank, or at least a more modern modification, so I guess it could fire more modern projectiles, so maybe that makes up for it. Anyways, for anti-air, listen, I don't know why there's a Shilka there. ChatGPT told me that we did have them in Greek service, Google told me no, so it's really up for you guys to debate. However, right below the Shilka is the Asrad Hellas, which is a Greek system, indeed. For tank destroyers, M113A1 tow carrier, obviously a lot of nations have them, and Mephisto. Listen, I'm not too sure, but judging by this photo, it really does look like Cyprus has Mephisto, so yeah, that's why I included it. Alright, rank 7 brings another bunch of Greek-specific variants, starting with Leonidas 300. An actual Greek tank, and I was actually not sure where to put it, since it's definitely superior to a Puma, cause it gets fire and forget missiles. From what I could see, they look like Stingers, so yeah, it gets Stingers. However, I'd still put it lower than the KF-41 for a very good reason. I'm pretty sure it has way inferior survivability, since it is based on the Leonidas hull and relies on ERA tiles for additional protection. The gun though is very powerful. It is a 30mm, actually it's the same cannon as the Kentavros and the Artemis 30. 30mm, very fast firing, 800 rounds per minute from what I could find. So yeah, ammunition, very good. Alright, for mediums, Leopard 2A4, obviously, but below it, Leopard 1 Hell. This is another Greek modification of the Leopard 1, and I would say it is superior. Maybe not frontal protection wise, but definitely side protection, maybe mobility, but fire control, it should be superior, guys. I mean, this tank is a modern modification, and as you know, the Leopard 2A4 is an older Cold War tank, so fire control system would definitely be better. It'd have better thermals. And since it is a more than 105, it probably get even better ammunition that can penetrate a lot more. Possibly even M900, even though I think that's only for American use. However, still, you get the point. It gets some pretty good ammunition, superior to what the Leopard has. So yeah, I would say 11.0, it would be better than the Leopard 2. For the other line, M60 Hell, you guessed it, another upgrade to an old Cold War tanks by the Greeks. It has additional armor, better fire control for sure. Something that this and the Leopard 1 Hell have in common is a 50 cal remote control turret on top, very nice to have. It definitely have access to better ammunition and such, so yeah, 11.0. Even though it may have less mobility, so maybe lower, but still. And below it, that's right, T-80U, the Cypriot tank that we all know and love. For anti-air, Osa AK, it is Greek surprisingly enough, and Tor M1, that is Cypriot. So yeah, for tank destroyers, I really could not find anything, guys. Okay, we've reached the end, rank 8, and unfortunately, as you can see, there is not a lot of stuff here. Yes, I am sorry. So, starting off, we do not have any light tanks, that's unfortunate. Leopard 2A4 as piece. This is an armor modification for the Leopard 2A4 by a Greek company. The armor package is quite comprehensive, and not only that, it wouldn't be crazy to assume that this Leopard 2 can also fire more modern ammunition like, I don't know, DM33, 43, maybe even 53. So yeah, which would actually vary its BR, so yeah. I've put it at 11.7 as of now, but its BR really depends on what ammunition it would use. Next to it is the T-80 UK, another Cypriot tank. It really doesn't have much different than the previous T-80U. However, from what I've heard, the T-80Us that Cyprus has have better thermals than the Russian T-80Us. So that is one thing to consider, maybe they'd be at a higher BR. Yeah, and lastly for the ultimate Greek tank, the Leopard 2 Hell, a very heavily modified Leopard, having a lot in common with the 2A7V, better hull armor and even roof armor, which is something that the 2A7V doesn't have. So yeah, a very good tank, probably very good ammunition too. Unfortunately for anti-air we do not have anything. However, I did come across an article saying that Greece or Cyprus, I don't remember, is planning to buy the Israeli Spider system. So yeah, that is one thing to consider as a possible top tier anti-air. As we all know, every nation needs to have an anti-air option for top tier. So yeah, this may possibly be the option for Greece. However, I think this wraps it up. Well, that's gonna do it for today. This video certainly turned out to be on the bigger side of videos. Jeez, 19 minutes long, they have a lot to edit. Well then, I do hope you at least enjoyed it and did find it interesting, since I really tried to include a lot of Greek options. I did not want this to turn out to be another copy-paste nation, even though 90% of all the vehicles are copy-pasted. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Really, for some vehicles you can excuse it, like for the support vehicles and even the light tanks you can somewhat excuse it, but for mainline MBTs you really cannot. Then again, you cannot say that this version of a Greek tech tree is really copy-paste compared to other nations. Mostly, I don't know, Sweden and Israel, they have a lot of copy-paste vehicles, even mainline MBTs, so really you cannot blame me for doing a lot of copy-paste. And hey, at least I did include some interesting options, and I did try to make this nation as little copy-paste as possible. Even though the result now is a lot of vehicles from multiple nations, basically making this Greek tech tree a shortcut to multiple good vehicles. Yeah, this is kind of busted. Regardless, I do hope this did turn out good and you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, if you did, make sure to leave it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And well, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Σας προσκαλώ να αναφωνήσουμε. Ζήτω το έθνος! Ζήτω η Επανάσταση!